In this video, we are going to understand what a REST API and how front-end and back-end communicate with each other. By end of this video, we will clearly know how REST API is neat and what the problem it solves. Front-end is a part of the application that user can see and interact with, like a website or mobile app. Backend is where the logic, database, and processing happen. These two are completely separate systems. Frontend cannot directly access the backend or database. So, how do frontend and backend communicates? The communication happens through something called REST API. REST API act as a middle layer. Frontend sends request to the API and the API communicates with the backend. The working of the REST API is very simple. First, the client send a request. Second, the server process that request. And when it comes third, the server sends a response back to the client. This request response cycle is the core of the web APIs. Let's take a real example. Suppose a friend wants to user data. It sends a user request like get slash users. The backend process it these requests and sends back data usually in a JSON format. The front end only receives data. It does not know how the backend work internally. REST APIs are very important because they keep systems clean and scalable. One backend can serve a website, a mobile app, and even other services. Front end and back end can develop independently. This makes development faster and more organized. A very common mistake beginners make is thinking API means database. API is not a database. API is a communication layer between a front end and a back end. The API talks to back end logic and database, but is not a database itself. So, to summarize, REST API is simply a communication layer between a front end and a back end. In the next video, we will go deeper and understand HTTP methods like get, post, and delete with a practical example.